Hey there, everybody. I am Pops, and yes, I'm going to talk about the Saw franchise because, yes, I had binged all of these films. I kind of did one little video, but I really hadn't gone back, talked about them. Most of you have even been critical of the fact that I would even sit through so many of these films because, yeah, there's not a whole lot left of the original and why it was great. Um, but I want to kind of go through a few things with you. This is actually an article put together, and there's several of these articles. I just picked one that would I think, reasonably share everything that I needed to kind of help prompt the memory hole of what I wanted to kind of touch on with each one. This is like how to watch them in order. So obviously, there is a prequel to even Saw, which makes things ridiculously complicated. It's silly on its face. But anyway, so obviously everything starts with Saw. Super low budget. They get great cast. They get the eeriness. They get the creepiness. They get all the different things, and the rules make a lot of sense. Then I will have some love for, well, they skip this. It says Saw X, but Saw 2 and Saw 3. Now, I know this is, they're not as good as the first one, but I will say that at least everything in the first two sequels felt as though they were in the same universe and it worked really well. You understood, oh, this twist works because now he has an apprentice. What are the rules? How is it all shifting? The time jumping gets actually convoluted, and I think they kind of still get you pretty well. I thought all of this was fine. I didn't care for all of the characters like in the house and like the concept of the gas. They're just like it only works because they're staggering around and whatever. That part I didn't care for, but other than that, I thought these two were okay. And when I say okay, I'm talking like 2.5 stars out of 5. Like these are fives. These are like they're okay. They're not horrible. There's at least a plot. There's some emotional heartstrings with Saw 3 with the whole, Kramer has a brain tumor and how will that play out and that kind of stuff. So I think all of that is fine. And then when you get into where you transition from Saw 4, 5, and 6, I believe, is where it starts to become like it starts to get ridiculous, right? I think let's see, 7. Yeah, okay. So 3 is the end of where I'm going to go with some praise. 4, 5, 6, and 7. So what we end up doing is it's the end of Jigsaw as we know it, and we now have a transition from Kramer and the ex-wife and all of that, and we end up with this other character that basically is the other apprentice, and he basically is the only one doing traps. And you do get a little bit of like the death of Amanda matters because she was rigging games where there was no way to win, and that was breaking Kramer's rules, right? And that was the fundamental element of the show, or the films rather, that actually work. Is it was like an appreciation of life. John had been cheated, so therefore he's going to pass along these tests, teach people a lesson. But in theory, they could survive his games. Now, the games get absurd and ridiculous, and at times Hoffman's games you can't win either. So all of this stuff, and to me, all of this is just like um, retcon hackery in writing, just twisting and turning. It's like it's all about the gore. It's all about the just the absurdity of everything. Um, Again, there are moments that are fine. There are traps that are fine, but for the most part, all of this is crap. I couldn't stand any of it. I didn't like any of this. So then I thought, well, let me go back and let me watch Jigsaw. Okay, so Jigsaw is the eighth movie, and they actually kind of got me liking it for a while, and then they twisted around, and you knew there was going to be this kind of twist, but then they add another apprentice. So this actually takes place pre-Saw, and it's another apprentice. So again, this is almost like Disney retconning Star Wars and Marvel stuff. It's like, okay, well, this doesn't make sense because where would this character be here? What would this be like here? What would this? It starts to unravel everything else that's beyond, the puzzle, which obviously kind of the pun intended for Jigsaw. Um, I really just could not stand that element of it. It wasn't bad in the sense that it was if it was just not a Saw movie and you did some tweaks and stuff to have it be more like a Saw ripoff movie, I actually probably would have liked this movie a little bit better. But the fact that they tried to cram it in and squeeze it in, it does not work either. And again, we're down into like the 2-star at best sort of category of movies. Don't care for them at all. And that kind of brings us to our last one that I have seen because I haven't seen the new one. So the latest one I saw was called Spiral: The Book of Saw, which was the Chris Rock movie. And let me just say this: This movie has a major identity problem. The early part of the film is about Chris Rock and it's his humor and it's his jokes and he's a cop and you kind of feel like they're going to have this super serious horror movie, and yet they're not going to have an actor who's going to take it all serious. And then it sort of like twists and turns, and he's like too serious. Like I'm not even enjoying the process anymore. And then it's like the twists and stuff with yet another person connected to everything, like another character that's not Kramer doing puzzles and just absolute dog crap for me. And people love this movie. There are some people who just think Spiral saved things or whatever. I just can't believe it. I think it's terrible. I think this is the wrong way to go. And I guess that they're doing Saw X, Saw 10, which is completely different about Kramer again. So obviously they agree with the sentiment that this is not the direction they should go. So that's my assessment of the Saw franchise, right? Saw 1, the original Saw, solid film. Enjoy rewatching it. It's graphic, it's intense, it's interesting. The actors are great. I'm a very solid 7. Very rewatchable film. 2 and 3 would rewatch again. They're like 5s. They're okay. They have a lot of issues. It starts to kind of fall apart with some of the tedious elements. The kids in the house and some of the kind I mentioned before. And it's okay. All the rest of them, I have no desire to sit through again. I'm not doing it. Like I'm out. I'm done. Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming there's people who just really enjoy all of this. They enjoy the sort of like graphic nature of all this, and that's fine. To me, I just don't have any desire to sit through it again. So that's my take on the Saw franchise. You have it. Anyway, tell what you guys think. Do you even watch the Saw movies? Do you care for any of the Saw movies or not? Anyway, tell me what you guys think. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much. I am Pops.